So you're at Clemson, you have a stellar career there, and then, we're in a new world of college football where players transfer often because there is no more waiting period where you have to give it a full year before you can play with a new program. You have an opportunity to go somewhere else.
Graduating from Clemson early, I kind of just had an open mind to it. I wanted to see what schools were interested. I knew I had a pretty good career at Clemson, and I had some good opportunities to, go to a program the same height or even higher. Kind of went into it with an open mind, didn't know who was going to contact me, didn't know who was going to pick me up and things like that. And Notre Dame was right off the bat the top school, man. Just of Coach Freeman, the coaches there, the coaches that they were gaining, and just the atmosphere of the school, man. You can't find this anywhere else.
The Field Talk podcast is presented by Roback. That's RHOBACK. Head on over to the website, roback.com, to check out all the great gear, head to toe, hats, polos, quarter zips, t-shirts, probably something new that I'm not even aware of yet, plus shorts, joggers. By the time this podcast is out, there might be flip-flops for all I know, because every time I turn, there is something new over on the website. It's roback.com, and enter my name, Field, Field, for 20% off your first order when you check out all the great gear with the best fit and the best feel. There are lots of different paths to the NFL, but Beaux Collins has one of the more unique ones, which will come to its conclusion in just a few weeks. Beaux Collins is a California kid who began his college football career all the way across the country at Clemson. And then he finished up for one final season at Notre Dame. He played at two of the most prestigious college football programs in the entire country and saw some of the best atmospheres the sport has to offer. On today's Field Talk podcast, we asked Beaux about what his path was like, including playing for a high school football program that is seemingly an NFL minor league system. Check it out. It's great to be joined now by Beaux Collins. And Beaux, I was thinking about this. Do you introduce yourself if somebody met you and knew nothing about you as Notre Dame wide receiver Beaux Collins, former Clemson wide receiver Beaux Collins? What do you go by these days?
Oh man, that's a tough question for sure. As of recently, with the recent success we had as a team this past year, a lot of people tend to, just call me former Notre Dame wide receiver. A lot of people do know me as the, guy that started his career early at Clemson and things like that. But man, it's kind of all over the place. Just depend on like when people met me and when the fandom started.
Yeah. Well, two great programs. I'm going to ask you about that in just a little bit. But today is sort of about the journey that you took to get to where you are. And as we're having this conversation, just a few weeks away from figuring out where your next stop is in the NFL of all places, which is an awesome, awesome thing. But you're a California kid. And looking back at your high school football program, like, did you have more talent on the high school football team than you did at some of your college teams? I mean, that is a loaded roster that I see back in your high school in California growing up.
Oh yeah, man. It was amazing being able to play with guys like Trent McDuffie, that's a two-time Super Bowl champ now, things like that. It was amazing, man. We had guys left and right that were able to make plays, basically ultimately reach the next level and things like that. And it wouldn't start or be there without Coach Negro, our head coach. He's done an amazing job there for the past who knows how many years, man. But he's made a great impact on that program, and I look forward to see what they still continue to do in the future.
Did you cross over for any seasons with Trent? Was that 1 year together? Because obviously he's been in the NFL now for what, 4 seasons. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he was there. He was a senior my sophomore year, so we had a pretty good run that year. Went to our like section title game and all that. We played Mater Day back and forth every year, so that was the team we played in the championship game. We didn't come out with the dub that year, but that was one heck of a team, man, for sure.
So Trent has established himself, as you mentioned, not just a two-time Super Bowl champion on the team level, but also individually. He's an all-pro. This guy's one of the best
Right.
corners in the league. What were practice reps like between you and Trent McDuffie? You can be honest.
Oh man, I was a young buck at the time, so yeah, I didn't win too many reps, but when I was able to, man, he made sure to tell me like how much of a guy he thought I was, how much of a dog he thought I was. He would help me out with pointers. He was kind of like a two-way guy, but he started to focus on corner as well. But he knew a lot about defense at the time that he shared with me and just helped me grow as a player mentally. That was the biggest thing for sure.
So you end up going to Clemson along with DJ Uiagalelei. And here's the most important question I have to ask you. Maybe two questions. Can you spell DJ Uiagalelei's last name?
Oh man. Let's see. I believe it's Uiagalelei. I'm pretty sure I think that's on point.
That probably is on point. And I just got to say thank you to his parents for calling him DJ
Oh,
because
right.
every time I hear his name pronounced on a television broadcast, it sounds a little bit different. And candidly, I'm not sure if I got it right there. So thank you, DJU. But you're in high school together. I'm sure you guys are both generating a lot of attention on the recruiting scene. We all know DJ coming out of high school was that guy, right? He was one of the most
Right.
coveted recruits in all of the high school football landscape. Was there a process where you guys were trying to maybe become a package deal? How did that work out that you guys both wind up at Clemson?
Oh man, it was kind of we did it on accident, man. I had took a visit to Clemson. It was like a summer camp that we went to. He had already had the offer and was kind of leaning on going to Clemson at the time. I don't believe he committed just yet, but yeah, we went out there for a summer camp. Clemson offered me. I fell in love with the place, and then the more I talked to DJ about it, it was just one of the places that felt like home, man. It was genuine people down there. That's what we both were looking for, like a Christ-driven program, things like that. And it just checked all the boxes. And for a receiver to have your college quarterback on the same team, man, or high school quarterback on the same team, that's something you can't come around more than once or once in a lifetime. So I had to seize that opportunity for sure.
So it's a big trip from California to Clemson. That's across the country.
Yes, sir.
I got to imagine one of the reasons why you wound up at Clemson was Dabo Swinney. So let me ask you this. And we previously had Cade Klubnik on the podcast here, and he was great with
Oh
his
yeah,
Dabo
that's my
insight.
guy.
What was it like the first time that you spoke to Dabo? Yeah, Cade, he's a stud. What was it like talking to Dabo for the first time?
Oh man, that experience was wild. Just growing up, seeing them on TV, the big wins that they had at the time. I was a little bit starstruck at the time when I first talked to him, but he really drew me in and got to know me as a person, which I respect and commend him for. He got to know my parents, my family, and things like that. First time I talked to him, man, it was electric. It was at the camp, like I mentioned earlier. He was just compliment me on how great of a player he thought I was.
So there's obviously the man that Coach Sweeney is, which is something that you just highlighted there, and I think we hear it often from his current or former players about how great of a human Coach Sweeney is. From our perspective, he's also a great character. He is one of the great characters in all of college football.
Yeah.
Do you have any coach stories from your time at Clemson, or maybe even before you got there, that you'll always be able to tell your children one day, your friends now, or people who ask you about your experience?
Oh man, there's a whole lot. I just remember one of our first team meetings when I got there as an early enrollee. I didn't believe um, how serious his team meetings were and like how long they would be. Our first team meeting, I kid you not, may have been like 2.5 hours, three
Oh my
hours,
God.
just things like that of him pouring into us as players. It wasn't just all about football. He would have like devotions for the day, phrases for the day, whether that was reading from a book or just something that he saw that somebody sent to him, man. He was always pouring into us, and I'm forever grateful for that.
So, Coach, one of the great football characters, a great recruiter, tireless. He is unique. He is completely himself. And he's also turned Clemson into one of the programs that is must see television at the college football level. The atmosphere of Clemson is so unique. I always, and I've never been there myself, but whenever there is a big game in national TV where they show your entrance into the stadium as the home teams that begins with the
Yeah.
bus ride around the stadium before you run down the hill. Walk us through that entire experience, the first time, the last time, or maybe the most memorable time that you did it.
Oh boy. You got to get down to see that in person, man.
Oh
It's
yeah.
life changing for sure, but I still get chills thinking about it. Man, the craziest one we had, I'd say my sophomore year, versus NC State. It was a college game day game, night game, probably the most electric I've seen it, man. It was crazy because NC State was kind of our rival, but not really a rival. So it was a big deal at the time, and man, just started from the locker room. That pregame talk is electric. Coach Swinney goes through like the keys to victory and things like that. We pray, and then we they give us like these chips, these Clemson poker chips that we all just like dump in the bucket. They stack them up game by game, and once we stack them up in the bucket, we all head on the bus. um, just looking out, seeing the fans that are just standing out there to see the buses drive past them. It was the one of the most memorable things I'd say at Clemson for sure. And then once you get off the bus, man, you hear the crowd roaring and things like that. It's electric, man. And I don't know how you wouldn't be able to run through somebody's face for 60 plus minutes.
So after or during the bus ride, I should ask you because I see you guys running down the field, and that's where everybody is hyped
Yeah.
up, and coach himself is obviously fired up. What's the is the bus ride though? Is that pure chaos or is that pure quiet for that ride around the stadium?
Oh man, it depends on what bus you got on. Like I got on the first bus, which was more of like the offensive guys. It'll be scattered, mixed in a little bit, but it just depends on who got on the bus on what day, man. Some guys like to sit there quiet, meditate, things like that. But then once we get right before the hill, there's a lot of guys like screaming, headbutting each other with the helmets on, things like that. And I know bus two, the one that was behind us, that one was live at all times, man. Guys, just yelling, screaming, beating their chest, things like that, man. It just depended on what bus you got on at the time, man, and who was on it.
Is there one teammate maybe that you play with at Clemson, whether someone who's still there or maybe he's
Yeah.
off to the NFL or not even playing football anymore, that you can just remember having like a little bit of a different mentality on that bus ride?
Oh yeah, for sure. He's a left tackle. He's still there. Tristan Lee, man, he's a freaking monster. Like once he puts the pads and helmets on, he's a completely different guy, man. He got me turned up every single time he was on the bus, like every time, man.
Got to have one of those guys in your corner, right? You
Yeah,
just
for
got to have
sure.
one of them, no doubt. All right, so you're at Clemson, you have a stellar career there, and then we're in a new world of college football where players transfer often because there is no more waiting period where you have to give it a full year before you can play with a new program. You have an opportunity to go somewhere else. What is that process like as you're weighing various options? Was it the only way that I'm leaving is if Notre Dame will take me? Or did you go open season and say, I'm available? Who's looking to potentially add me to their roster?
Yeah, graduating from Clemson early, I kind of just had an open mind to it. I wanted to, see what schools were interested. I knew I had a pretty good career at Clemson, and I had some good opportunities to, go to a program the same height or even higher, something like that. So, yeah, I kind of went into it with an open mind. Didn't know who was going to contact me. Didn't know who was going to pick me up and things like that. And Notre Dame was right off the bat the top school, man. Just of Coach Freeman, the coaches there, the coaches that they were gaining, um, and just the atmosphere of the school, man. You can't find this anywhere else.
All right. So, say I asked you earlier about your first conversation with Coach Sweeney. Little different disposition for Coach Freeman, but what was it like meeting Coach Freeman for the first time?
Oh, it was amazing. I played against him 2 years prior and things like that. The year before, I had never got to speak to him prior to that. Like when I was in high school, it was Brian Kelly here, so I never got to talk to Coach Freeman, have a conversation with him. But everything I heard about him beforehand was true, man. He's similar to Coach Sweeney in ways of like being genuine, caring. He cares about your family too, man. Like he talked to my parents longer than he talked to me for sure, which is pretty rare for a head coach of college football. He I don't know, man. He blew me away with the type of person he was. I wasn't expecting it at all.
Yeah, we talked to not just Cade Klubnik on the podcast previously, but also your quarterback at Notre Dame, Riley Leonard, one of your guys, one of
Oh
your buddies
yeah.
who, like you, spent a season at Notre Dame. I'll ask you about Riley in just a minute here, but he was telling us some great Coach Freeman stories, and it just feels like you were talking about how your former left tackle got geared up for a game. I feel
Yeah.
like Coach Freeman could still give you guys a half
Oh
at least at
yeah.
linebacker. What was he like pregame?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Coach Free was fired up. Like the our playoff games this past season, man. I wanted to run through a brick wall. Like his pregame speeches are top tier because you can tell it's like he still has a fire in him. Like I can still go out there and do this with y'all if I really wanted to. But man, he was top tier when it came to pregame speeches. Just letting us know how much trust he had in us, to believe in each other, and it just drew us closer throughout the year, especially for guys like myself that transferred in. We like, all right, this dude, he's rocking with us for sure.
Yeah, I can say this. You don't have to react to it, but I have noticed. Coach Sweeney obviously played himself. He was a good football. He's a great football player back
Oh
in
yeah,
college at Bama, and people maybe overlook that because it feels like Coach Freeman has kept himself in playing shape a little bit more than Coach Sweeney, who he'll go for like the baggy khakis.
yeah,
Coach Freeman looks like he could, yeah,
yes,
he could still
sir.
lace up the cleats if he needed to. Um, so you and Riley, amongst the notable transfers from Notre Dame or to Notre Dame this past season, what's it like forming a relationship on the fly with a quarterback who, the expectation for Notre Dame is not let's like win 7 or 8 games. It's let's make the college football playoff and eventually the national championship game.
Right, man. It's a lot of sweat equity off the field, man. Just making sure you take the time to get to know one another, man. Like not speeding home after practice or speeding home after a workout, a summer workout or something like that. Just hanging out in the locker room, spending time. We had a ping pong table in there, things like that. He also invited myself and some of our other receivers down to Fairhope, Alabama, where he's from before the season started, man. Like just small things like that go a long way in such a short time, and I feel like we maximize our potential with each other for sure.
So I asked you about the Clemson introduction, getting to the stadium, the bus ride, the eventual run down the hill. Notre Dame doesn't have a carbon copy of that, but obviously every game is a big atmosphere. What do you
Oh yeah.
recall about some of your first days on campus, or maybe even some of your home games from this past season, about the atmosphere that was specific to that Notre Dame faithful?
Oh man, going to the our chapel on campus before games was amazing. I had my high school was a Catholic school, so we did team mass and things like that before, but it just felt a little different here at Notre Dame, man. Being in there, and as soon as you walk out of the chapel doors, man, there's thousands of fans lined up all the way from the chapel to the stadium, man. That was amazing. Shoot, man. As far as on campus, some of the students they would try to, be like, "Hey, man, good luck this weekend," but a lot of them just tried to treat us as normal as possible, which I really appreciate them for, and I'm forever loyal to this university for sure.
Let's talk about this past year. It's the first 12-team playoff in the history of college football. You guys, early in the year, hit a road bump. What's going through your mind when you guys fall early in the season to Northern Illinois and you're thinking about, well, what does the rest of our year look like? Like, are you guys immediately, are you down to the point that you feel like the season might be over before it's really gotten started? Or what's the message coming out of that locker room that day?
Oh yeah, for sure. From the older guys, it was really just we had to focus on making sure the young guys kept their heads in it, man. I've been on some teams where if the younger guys kind of slack off and feel like, oh man, we're cooked, it's tough for the team to, resurface from something like that. So we had great leadership on the team this year that just made sure the young guys were still locked in, ready to work on Monday and things like that, and just relaying the message that Coach Free had for us, like we still had everything in front of us. It was on us, our preparation that led to that loss early in the season, and we just got to go back and correct it. And we just kept pounding that week in, week out, and it led us to eventually the national championship.
The ACC now is bi-coastal, but when you were playing in the ACC, a lot of your games, I mean, you're playing, like you're playing schools, Georgia Tech and Miami, which are relatively short flights. Duke, right? That might be a drive for all I know, right? North
Oh
Carolina,
yeah,
those are quick trips. You go to Notre Dame. It's a national schedule. What's it like playing, or like one week you might be playing in Boston against Boston College, and the next week you might be playing against UCLA, USC, or UCLA in Los Angeles? Did it feel a little bit different? Did you feel like more of a national brand playing at Notre Dame, which for many people that don't come from a college football rich town, that's the team that they grew up watching on NBCs on Saturday?
Oh yeah, man. It was I don't take that for granted at all. I felt like we were playing the NFL schedule the way we were traveling, playing in big stadiums, NFL stadiums, and things like that. It was amazing to have pretty much every game nationally televised, man. That was definitely a big deal for me and um, a key point and factor for me choosing Notre Dame. I knew the brand they had, I knew the exposure they were going to bring, and I wanted to be a part of it.
So you make it to the college football playoff. It's this huge accomplishment as you guys run the table after that early season loss. And then, if my memory is correct, the very first game of the 12 team playoff week, the first weekend, was you guys against Indiana playing in South Bend. What's that atmosphere like? I mean, so much on the line. You're playing a team that isn't necessarily a rival, but you guys are located just a couple of hours apart. What was it like to be a part of that night? What was maybe different about that night compared to every other game you played in?
Oh man, that stadium was rocking. It was about 15 degrees outside, but every seat was still filled to the brim, man. Like our fans were jumping. They had a good amount of fans there as well. It was kind of almost split, but it was just an amazing atmosphere to be able to play a team like that. Indiana, those boys, they got after it for sure. It was a tough game. We came out with the W, but I just want to thank our fans for showing up, making that experience once in a lifetime, man, for sure.
All right, so I don't think I'm going to screw this up, but I'm going to keep the order going here. You go from Indiana and the 12, which is essentially the Sweet 16. Four teams have a bye. You make it to the next round. You get Georgia, right? Um, That's a team that, as you know, I mean, you played at Clemson. A lot of the top recruits. Georgia's got
Yeah.
five stars that back up other five stars. That's just how they roll down there in Athens.
Yeah.
There were people that thought that, hey, this Notre Dame has this great season, but this is when reality sets in, right? This is when they meet a team that has been through this rugged schedule. What's that Georgia game and that Georgia atmosphere like where you guys once again come out on top?
That was amazing, man. I'd say that was probably one of my favorite games I've ever played in. Just the anticipation, playing a team like Georgia, man, with uh, guys that can play in the NFL all across the board. That was amazing. Just seeing my team have a relentless approach about the game. We weren't taking no for an answer at the time, man. We heard all the talk about our season was going to be over after that. Georgia's this, Georgia's that, and we were sick of it, man, and we went out there and displayed that.
Then you guys keep rolling here, and it's like, all right, we just keep checking off the conferences, right? So you got the Big Ten early, then you get the SEC, and then it's like, all right, we got another chance at the Big Ten. You play Penn State in a wild, super dramatic game. What's sort of take me through what that experience was like?
Oh, that was the cool one as well, being down in Miami, Orange Bowl, that's always a great experience, great weather down there. Um, we knew they had some dudes too. Abdul Carter is no joke, man. Just watching him on film the week prior, we were like, all right, man, we're gonna have to strap it up, whether that's blocking on the perimeter, things like that. Just make sure we bring our hard hats this game, and that was one of the greatest games. I feel like holistically as a team, we just put it all together, man, and we weren't going to be denied.
And the last one, finally, of course, the college football national title, first one for this 12-team playoffs. You guys come up a bit short against Ohio State, but walk us through the build-up to that, right? That's it's the only game left. You got this big gap between games. You're not playing, Friday and then again Sunday is football, right? We don't play every other day. What was that like? The build-up to it, the atmosphere, even the day of, walking out of the tunnel. What do you remember most about that particular day?
What I remember most is I feel like it was the practices and preparation leading up to the game. We kept it as normal as possible, even though it was the national championship. It just felt like another week with the guys, man. We knew it was the last one. We knew it was coming down to an end and things like that, but we just made the most of it. Every practice was still competitive. We may have to dial it down a little bit so we could take care of our bodies, but we were still out there competing, having fun. I just remember like I practiced 2 days before the game. Still, we played like games and things like that before we started practice, and it was like the most fun we've had all season. Just knowing it was the coming down to the last one, and we had to soak it all up. Man, walking out of that tunnel was insane. They had kind of like our fan quotes like right as we walked out of the locker room and things like that, and just looking at it, it was just amazing to see how proud people were of us, and we were just like, man, we're here, we gotta do it. That was a crazy game as well, man. Just being able to put up a fight like we did and things like that, it was, I wouldn't trade that experience for anything.
You and I are now having this conversation just a day after your pro day at Notre Dame. Drop, I think, a 38-inch vertical I saw.
Yes,
I'm like,
sir.
man's got some bunnies. What has the pre-draft experience been like for you? What I mean, has it been taxing? Has it been, do you find yourself looking at mock drafts all day? How do you kind of keep yourself focused on the stuff you can control versus the stuff that you can't control?
Oh, personally, I just have been like as far as physically and mentally trying to attack the things that I felt like I was lacking, or like things that I felt like I should be better at, on the field and off the field. Just making sure my body's in the best shape. I feel great. I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life right now. Things like that. It hasn't been too bad, man. There's teams that have a lot of interest in me. I'm appreciative of those. A lot of Zoom meetings, a lot of phone calls, things like that, a lot of media. But it's what I've dreamt of, so I don't have any complaints about it, man. The combine, that was a long experience. I appreciate the NFL for inviting me, things like that. It's once in a lifetime, so I'm soaking it all in.
I'll try to get a couple of quick hitters in here before I ask you one to wrap things up. Did you grow up rooting for a particular NFL team?
Oh, I grew up a Dallas Cowboys fan, man. It's been a rough journey, but yeah, man, that was my team growing up.
Oh man, can you imagine what it would be like to get picked up by the Cowboys?
Hey, that would be top tier, man. I'd be in shock if that happened.
Hey, it's possible. Hey, one out of
Yes,
32 is
sir.
going to draft you, so you got yourself a
Oh
chance here
yeah.
just a few weeks away. Uh,
Yes, sir.
is there a player that you have modeled your game after most that you want fans to one day say, Beaux Collins reminds me of this player?
Um, with being like a bigger guy, having great vertical speed and things like that, I always grew up watching Julio Jones. In today's time, guys like Cortland Sutton, of just bigger bodies that are smooth at the same time, man. I really model my game after guys like that, and hopefully one day they mention me with guys like that, and I'll just be appreciative of it.
Is there a corner that you faced in college that you thought to yourself, that guy's the truth?
Oh man, there's been a handful for sure. I'm gonna just go with my guy out here in South Bend, Benjamin Morrison. We played against him. I played against him 2 years in a row, and he was giving us problems, man. When I was at Clemson, pick
Yeah,
sixes left and right. He was one for sure. Florida State, they've always had good DBs
yeah.
back to back years. I forget his name, but he wore number 8 this past
Yeah,
season.
Zaire Thomas, right? He's going to get
Oh
drafted like
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir. He's a dude for sure. Lengthy, patient at the line, stays over top, all the above, man. He's a baller for sure.
So I'm not assuming that you fear any corner, but is there a corner in the NFL that you're like, all right, if I want to measure myself, this is the corner
Oh
that will be a
yeah.
good measuring stick.
Oh yeah. Dudes like if I line up across Marlon Humphreys or Jalen Ramsey, like dudes like that, I'm gonna be like a little shaking in my boots, man. But I'm just excited to, get to that next level and measure myself up to guys like that, and just go at it. I'm a competitor, man, for sure.
Is there any NFL stadium that you have wanted to see and play a game in the most?
Oh, that is a great question. Um, I'd say I grew up watching the Seahawks a lot as well. The Seahawks stadium, that looks like it's rocking, man. I hope it's loud, just as loud as it's been on TVs, things like that. I'm really excited to get up there.
Yeah, Lumen Field. That's a crazy place. That's for sure. And those fans. Doesn't matter win loss. Those fans are always rocking. All right, we'll end it here. You've had a fascinating path: California to Clemson to Notre Dame. For those that maybe see this after you're drafted or even before you're drafted, if you're a fan of a team that Beaux Collins is on, what kind of person are they getting, and how would you describe your football journey and the most important lesson you've learned along the way?
Oh man, I just say they're getting a ultimate competitor, a winner. Um, I've been fortunate enough to be on a lot of teams growing up that have done nothing but win, so I've gathered a lot from whether that's coaches, players, guys older than me. I kind of see and know what it takes to, you know, reach a team's full potential. I know what it looks like for guys to, put in the extra work, come in, watch extra film, and things like that. So, on the field, you're going to get a competitor, a dog. I'm a little feisty at times, but I'm respectable at the same time and things like that. So, um, one thing, what was the last part of the question you asked? I'm
What would
sorry,
be
I'm
the
blanking on.
lesson you learned about your journey?
Oh yeah, the lesson I learned, I'd say, really when your time comes, be ready, man. I've been fortunate enough to sit behind some top tier guys like Justin Ross, great receivers, man. And when my time was there, I was ready for it. And that's the only thing you can do going into the next phase of your life, no matter what that is, man. Just prepare your butt off, and you'll be just fine.
Well, Beaux Collins, maybe Notre Dame wide receiver, maybe Clemson wide receiver. It just is a matter of who you
Yes,
speak
sir.
to. And soon to be NFL wide receiver. We appreciate you very much for joining us today. Thanks for coming on.
Oh man, I appreciate y'all for having me.
Really cool to hear from Beaux Collins, who has seen a lot of different stops along his football journey. Clear how much both Clemson and Notre Dame have meant to him and some of the relationships that have really impacted him along the way. Next, we can't wait to see where Beaux ends up in the NFL, but I'm sure that the fans of whichever team he is on will find him a very easy player to root for. One more time, a big thank you to Roback for making this podcast possible. That's RHOBACK.com. Enter my name, Field, for 20% off your first order. And also a reminder that Field Talk Podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. Ratings, reviews certainly help us. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to press the subscribe button so you miss none of the content that is coming your way here on the Field Talk Podcast. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon.